Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Acupuncture is My Life. Now, in this episode, I'm going to make this a special episode based on certain messages that I've gotten or I've received here at Acupuncture is My Life over the past few weeks, but I haven't had time to really give a good response. So I got back to some of the individuals and just requested they listen to the podcast to answer some of their questions. And this was tied to the episode Acupuncture is My Life did on anxiety as a mental and emotional disorder and how it can be a cause of disease. And for those that are unaware, this episode came on the Acupuncture is My Life channel, which is streaming on Roku TV, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Android TV. And individuals have downloaded the app, and they've had several questions with regard to causes of anxiety and so forth and so on. Now, I'll say again, and I've messaged some individuals back on the app, and if you don't already have the app, just download it. It's free. The Apple Store if you're an iPhone user, or the Google Play Store if you're an Android user. But those that are watching the Acupuncture is My Life channel that's streaming on Roku TV, Apple TV, Android TV, or Amazon Fire, understand something. And I stated it in the episode. Anxiety in its acute phase is unnecessary, because anxiety helps us cope with stress, short-term stress. But again, once it becomes chronic, now we have problems, because it can lead to everything from general anxiety disorder all the way to panic attacks. But what I didn't go into detail about, and I know it's going to be in an upcoming episode on the Acupuncture is My Life channel, streaming on those streaming services, is there are foods and drinks that can cause anxiety. And that's what I'd like to get into over these next few episodes. Because anxiety, it's basically, you ever feel anxious, jittery, jumpy, or you feel like you're just wired up, and you're just not making the connection that you're experiencing these sensations after eating or drinking. Think about that for a second. Take a moment and just think about that. You may identify with the fact that sometimes during the day, you'll feel like you're wired, you're jumpy, you're really jittery and anxious. But you're not really catching the fact that this is occurring after you just completed a meal. You can even feel a sensation of like internal panic after having eaten certain foods, and you're not realizing it's tied to the food in which you ate. Now, that's not the only cause of anxiety, but there are foods that can contribute to anxiety. And these are foods that tend to cause your blood sugar to spike. Remember that. Please remember that. And it's key, because you're just getting that shot, that rush, and then you drop. And this is why I say on many episodes, leave the processed foods, or leave certain types of foods alone. because they can cause a myriad of problems. Because, you can consume something that's super high in sugar, bad sugar, high fructose, corn syrup, and so forth. And it'll cause your blood sugar to like shoot through the roof and then just drop real fast. That sensation can exacerbate feelings of anxiety and even panic attacks. And so many individuals are unaware of that. Eating foods such as like candy, cookies, cakes, soda, pies, all types of sugary foods, bad sugars, that white sugar, that or high fructose corn syrup, that just spikes your blood, plays a big part. Diet plays a big part in anxiety disorder, whereas in its chronic phase can cause disease. And that's what the anxiety episode on the Acupuncture My Life channel, streaming on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Android TV is talks about. Now, we have a psychiatrist, a psychotherapist, and other experts on the panel on that show. We really don't get into foods in that episode, but when is it? Anxiety. The anxiety episode part 2 is going to air December 18th. That's when we'll get into how foods contribute to anxiety disorder. And it can even cause hair loss. So that's a very interesting episode. So, if you're not already tuning into the Acupuncture My Life channel on these streaming services such as Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Android TV, do so. We discuss anger issues. We discuss so many other things, and we have great yoga episodes on there. That's great for different type of mental and emotional disorders that you can do in the comfort of your own home or in the park. You can watch it on an Android or iPhone device. So it's an awesome channel. But the messages, that I've responded to, I'm hoping in today's podcasts, I will discuss these foods because it's important that you're aware that a lot of foods that you deem as comfort foods, and you tend to eat them during stressful times, and we all face stress. And that's where anxiety kicks in and allows us to cope, and then boom, as long as it remains in an acute phase, and we settle down. But these comfort foods that you're consuming can provoke anxiety. And many of you globally are unaware of this. This is why I do so many episodes discussing foods that you should stay away from. Because it's just not about physical disorders that come from it, physiological, but mental, emotional disorders as well. Because as an acupuncturist, I understand that health is wealth. I understand that the wealth is not in the bank. It's not in a safe. It's not in your purse. It's not in your pocket. It's not under the mattress. It's not in the shoebox in the closet. It's not under the doghouse in the backyard. I understand that it's in you. This is why these podcasts are done on a regular basis. This is why you listen to it. Because many of you are really catching on, and I love the fact that you guys are messaging Acupuncture My Life and asking questions. That shows interest in your health in some ways. Not totally. So the ones that don't message, It's not like I'm saying, oh my gosh, you didn't send a message. It's not, you don't care about your health. No, not at all. Not at all. But a lot of these comfort foods tend to be highly processed foods, such as processed meats, cakes, bread, especially cakes. Many of you love to sit on your sofa or sit out in the back or sit in the park, and because it's sweet, you have some type of cake. Even cheese, as well as ready-made meals. These types of foods tend to trigger anxiety by increasing inflammation in your body. You see, these foods, they have a very small amount of fiber in it. And these foods tend to disturb the normal gut microbiome. And I speak on that balance relative to the gut microbiome. It's important. You see, when you're sucking down these refined carbs and fats, you're increasing inflammation throughout the body, which eventually affects your central nervous system, ultimately affecting your mood, triggering anxiety. So it's important that you know these things. This is why I discuss what I discuss on a regular basis with you guys. You want to stay away from foods like pies. Oh, I know you love the apple pies, but you want to know something? And I say this every now and then. I've said it in past Eastern Nutrition episodes. Make your own pie. Go to a farm, or if you're not growing these fruits or whatever in the backyard, and make your own pie from scratch, from quality ingredients. Make your own cookies, your own cakes. But you go into the store and you're purchasing these things along with candy, and it's not good for you. Stay away from store purchased cookies and cakes and candy and pies, as well as sugary drinks. And like I said earlier, ready-made meals, processed meats, cheese, energy drinks, and coffee and alcohol. I know I'm going to get a huge feedback, a huge response from those two. And I literally even read messages on the app stating, you're still talking about coffee and alcohol? I'm not staying away from it. I'm still going to say it. I'm going to continue to say it. You also want to avoid certain types of smoothies, vegetable or fruit smoothies that have high glycemic indexes. Be careful. Be careful. You want to stay away from artificial sweeteners, processed vegetable oils, hidden sugars. All of these things are bad. They're bad for you. And you know what? I know tons of you are going to say, why? Why processed meats? Why energy drinks? Why coffee? And so forth and so on. Well, you know what? In my next episode, I'll go into detail about those. But until that episode, make acupuncture a part of your life. Because acupuncture is my life. What's yours?